Here's why breathing matters so much. Your diaphragm was displaced as your uterus was growing. Your rib cage actually expands. And for a postpartum body trying to rebuild muscle, undereating is a very real problem. Especially if you're breastfeeding, your body is producing between 300 and 500 extra calories worth of milk every single day. Nobody prepares you for what your body is going to be like after having a baby. Not really. They say things like it takes time, or your body just grew a human. And yes, both of those things are absolutely true. But nobody tells you about the specific kind of exhaustion, the kind that lives in your bones at 6 a.m. when your baby is finally sleeping and you're standing in front of the mirror and you're thinking, who is this person? And that was me. 14 months postpartum, still wearing the same 3 outfits because nothing else fit, right? I was running on broken sleep and coffee, feeling completely disconnected from the body that I used to know. And here's the thing I think that made it worse. Every single piece of advice that I found online was designed for someone with unlimited time, unlimited energy, zero dependence. Hit the gym 5 days a week, meal prep on Sundays, get your steps in. Cool. When am I supposed to be doing that? During the 12 minutes that my daughter is actually asleep? And I wasn't looking for some full transformation. I wasn't chasing some pre-baby body that honestly I wasn't even that in love with to begin with. I just wanted to feel like myself again. Strong, present, functional. And it took me a long time. A lot of trial and error, eventually support from my doctor, including starting a GLP-1 medication to figure out what actually works for a real person with a real life and a very real tiny human that's demanding all of my attention. Hey, I'm Danielle. I'm 46, mother of 3, and welcome to the Trim Talks presented by TrimRx. This is where we talk about real wellness strategies for real life, not the Instagram version of health. The actual version. Today, I want to talk about something that I really wish someone had explained to me when I was 14 months postpartum, because I was completely lost. How to rebuild your body after pregnancy without making it your entire personality, without neglecting your kids, without burning out in week 2 of some aggressive program that you've started. Because here's what I've learned. The approach that works for the postpartum body is completely different than what you've ever tried before. Most of the mistakes that people make come from not understanding that one thing. Whether you're 3 months postpartum, 3 years postpartum, whether you've just started GLP-1, or whether you're just thinking about it, this one's for you. So let's get into it. Something that nobody explains honestly about the postpartum body is not just the physical changes. It's about the complete rewiring of everything. Your hormones, your sleep, your energy systems, your relationship with your own time. All of it changed at once. And what makes it so hard is that most fitness and wellness advice is built for a body that's operating under normal conditions, adequate sleep, stable hormones, time to recover. And the postpartum body just doesn't have any of those. Let me explain what's actually happening inside your body in the months after birth. First, your hormones are in free fall. During pregnancy, your estrogen, your progesterone, they were at the highest levels that they'll ever be. And then after delivery, they just crash. And I mean dramatically crash. And those hormones aren't just about reproduction. They affect your mood, your metabolism, your muscle recovery, your energy, your sleep quality. Second, if you're breastfeeding, your body is prioritizing the milk production above everything else. So your metabolism is working overtime. But the energy cost of the milk production means your body is being protective. It's holding on to certain stores because it's designed to support feeding your baby above all other functions. Then third, sleep deprivation is not just inconvenient. Sleep is when your body actually repairs the muscles, regulates the hunger hormones, and actually processes cortisol. So when you're waking up at 2-3 hours in, your body is in a constant state of stress response. Your cortisol stays elevated, and elevated cortisol makes it much harder for your body to actually build muscle or let go of anything that it's been holding on to. And then fourth, your core and your pelvic floor have been through significant trauma. Whether you had a vaginal birth or a C-section, the muscles that support your entire movement foundation need intentional rehabilitation before you start adding load. So when someone tells you, just go back to the gym and push hard, they're ignoring literally all of this. They're treating your postpartum body like any regular body that just needs more effort. And that is not what your body needs right now. What it needs is a completely different strategy. But here's the good news. Once you understand what is actually happening, the strategy becomes obvious. And it's so much more manageable than what you've been told that you need to do. The mistake that sets most people back, the single biggest mistake that postpartum women make when trying to rebuild their bodies, is they try to do too much too soon, and it sets them back by months. Here's what this looks like. You get cleared at your 6-week checkup. Your doctor says you're healed. Your brain immediately goes, okay, time to get back to normal. So you sign up for a gym membership. You start doing the same workouts that you did before, and maybe you try a high intensity class because that's the one you used to love. And one of three things happens. Either you injure yourself because your core and your pelvic floor aren't ready for that load, or you completely exhaust yourself because you don't have the recovery capacity that you used to. Or you do it for like 2 weeks, you crash, you feel like a failure, and then you just stop entirely. I did option 3 twice. The first time was at 8 weeks postpartum when I decided I was gonna, just get serious. I downloaded a 12-week program. I started it on a Monday, and by Thursday, I was so tired, I cried in the kitchen while I was trying to make a bottle. The second time was at 6 months when I tried a 30-day challenge, and I made it to day 11. Both times, I thought the problem was me. I thought it was my willpower, my consistency, my discipline. But that wasn't the problem at all. The problem was the approach. Here's what I eventually learned. The 6-week clearance that you get during your postpartum appointment, that's a medical clearance. It means that your incisions are healing and you're not at risk of an immediate harm. It is not a signal that your body is ready for the same intensity that it handled before pregnancy. Your pelvic floor can take 6 months to fully recover. Your hormones can take 6-12 months before they're even stabilized, longer if you're breastfeeding. Your sleep deprivation, that is creating a cortisol environment that makes it counterproductive to do intense exercise. The right approach is to start with far less than you think that you need, and then stay far more consistent than you have been, and then build slowly over time. Because the goal is not a transformation over 30 days. We're not getting that. The goal is to build something that is sustainable enough that we can keep doing it for the next 30 years. Less intensity, more consistency. That's the entire strategy in the beginning. Next section, what to actually do first. Before any workout program, before any nutrition changes, before any of it, there's one thing that postpartum women have to prioritize. Nobody talks about it. Do you know what it is? Your pelvic floor. I know, I know. It is not the most exciting topic, but stay with me because it's genuinely important, and skipping it can cause real problems. Skipping it causes real problems. Your pelvic floor is a group of muscles that form the base of your core. They support your bladder, they support your bowel, they support your uterus. And during pregnancy, they actually carry the weight of a growing baby for 9 months. And then during delivery, they all go through significant stress, right? When those muscles are weak or damaged, everything that's on top of them is now compromised. Your core stability, your movement patterns, your ability to actually handle load, and signs that your pelvic floor need attention: leaking when you cough, when you sneeze, when you laugh, when you jump, pressure or heaviness in your pelvic region. Lower back pain can be your pelvic floor, hip pain, any discomfort during exercise. And here's the thing, a lot of women just think that it's, normal after having a baby. And that it's common, but it's not something that you have to accept. It's something that you actually can rehabilitate. And the best investment that you can make postpartum is just a few sessions with a pelvic floor physiotherapist. They can assess your specific situation and give you targeted exercises. This is not optional. This is foundational. And while you're working on that, then the exercise I recommend starting is just walking. Not as a warm-up, not as I'm just going to have a light day today. No, this is your primary activity, walking. Because walking is so underrated. It's underrated in a way that just baffles me. Walking activates your core. It supports your pelvic floor, right? It manages cortisol. It improves your sleep. It boosts your mood through endorphins. And you can do it with a stroller. Just 30 minutes a day of walking consistently is more beneficial for a postpartum body in the first 3 to 4 months than any high-intensity workout you could ever find. I started walking every single day when my daughter was about 10 weeks old, just, around the neighborhood. Some days it was 20 minutes, some days it was 40, but I was consistent. And that consistency built something very important. It built the habit of actually moving, which made everything that came later so much easier. Rebuilding strength the right way. So once you've gotten your pelvic floor assessed and you've built your habit of walking, the next step is rebuilding your strength. And the way that you approach postpartum is different than any strength training that you've done before, because most strength programs are built around a progressive overload from the very, very start, right? You pick a weight, you increase it gradually, and you push the intensity over time. That framework eventually applies to postpartum, but not immediately. The first phase of postpartum strength training is about reconnecting with your body. Your nervous system has changed during the pregnancy. Your movement patterns have changed. Your literal center of gravity has changed. And if you had a C-section, your core has a literal scar tissue, literally a scar tissue that needs to be worked around and eventually through with the right approach, okay? So the first phase is about two things: relearning how to breathe properly and reconnecting your core. These sound too simple to matter, but they're foundational. And here's why breathing matters so much. Because during pregnancy, your diaphragm was displaced as your uterus was growing. Your rib cage actually expands. Your breathing pattern shifts. After delivery, a lot of women are still breathing in a way that keeps their core disengaged. The 360-degree breathing technique, where you breathe into your entire rib cage, front, sides, back, and let your pelvic floor respond naturally, that is the starting point for everything else. And then core reconnection does not mean we're doing crunches. Crunches are one of the worst things that you can do in early postpartum recovery, because it increases the intra-abdominal pressure on the pelvic floor that isn't ready for it. It means gentle exercises that reactivate the deep core muscles, dead bugs, bird dogs, modified planks, heel slides. And after 4 to 6 weeks of this foundation, then you start adding compound movements, squat, hinges, rows, body weight first, and then very light load. And the progression looks something like this, okay? Weeks 1 through 4, you're walking, you're breathing, pelvic floor work, right? Weeks 5 through 12, body weight strength, walks continue. Months 3 through 6, light resistance, progressive overload begins. And then month 6 and beyond, then full strength training with intentional progression. Does this happen to feel slower than what you were looking for? It probably does. It did for me. But it's so much faster than the alternative of trying to rush it and then injuring yourself, and then you're starting over from zero. I followed this exact progression, and by month 6 of postpartum, I was doing actual proper strength training 3 days a week. Not 5, not 6, 3. And I was building real functional strength. Nutrition that works for a postpartum body. Now, nutrition is one piece that trips up almost everybody postpartum. And the reason is very simple. Most nutrition advice is actually designed for either someone trying to maintain or someone trying to be in a calorie deficit. But a postpartum body, especially if you're breastfeeding, you have completely different requirements. So let me start with the breastfeeding, because this changes everything. Your body is producing between 300 and 500 extra calories worth of milk every single day. That is a metabolic load equivalent to moderate daily exercise. You didn't even do anything, right? And then on top of that, The breastfeeding requires adequate protein, fat, calcium, hydration, and if you don't supply those, your body is actually going to pull those from your own reserves. And this means that an aggressive calorie reduction while you're breastfeeding is not just counterproductive, it can actually affect your milk supply, your energy, your hormone recovery, and your mood. It's not the right move. So what is the right move? Eating enough. Specifically, eating enough of the right things. Protein is the most important macronutrient for postpartum recovery. It supports muscle rebuilding, tissue repair, hormone production, and satiety. You need about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight. Most postpartum women are getting nowhere near that. So here's what it looks like in actual practice. Every single meal needs to be anchored around a protein source. So breakfast is eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese. Lunch, chicken, fish, turkey. Dinner, beef, salmon, legumes. Snacks, string cheese, hard-boiled eggs, edamame. Front-loading your protein earlier in the day actually matters too. Because in the evening, when the baby has depleted every single last resource you had, you're not going to want to eat a strategic high-protein meal. You're going to want whatever requires zero effort, right? And here's where GLP-1 medications become relevant. When I started on semaglutide after I finished breastfeeding, one of the most immediate effects is that my appetite became manageable for the first time in months. The constant hunger that had been driving chaotic eating patterns actually quieted down. But the challenge with the GLP-1s and appetite suppression is that you can undereat without even realizing it. And for a postpartum body trying to rebuild muscle, undereating is a very real problem. You still need enough calories to support your recovery and your muscle growth. And the medication helps to manage the appetite, but you have to stay intentional about hitting your nutritional goals. The strategy that worked for me was building just a simple template: a protein first, a vegetable, a healthy fat, and a complex carb. And that's applied to every single meal. It's not complicated counting. It's not overthinking. It's just a reliable template that I could actually execute even on the hardest days. It's simple, it's repeatable, it's consistent, and that's actually what works. How GLP-1 medications fit into postpartum recovery. Let me be straightforward about something because I think it's important. GLP-1 medications are not a postpartum quick fix. They're not something that you start immediately after delivery, and they are not recommended while breastfeeding because we don't have sufficient safety data for that population yet. What they are, for the right person and at the right time, is a tool that can help rebuild consistency when the postpartum hormonal chaos has been making that feel completely impossible. Here's what I mean. After I finished breastfeeding, my daughter was almost 7 months old. My hunger regulation was all over the place. I'd have days where I wasn't hungry at all, and then days where I was just ravenous and I couldn't stop eating. My blood sugar felt unstable. My energy was completely unpredictable. My relationship with food had become reactive and chaotic. My doctor and I had a conversation about whether or not GLP-1 support made sense for my situation. My insulin sensitivity had changed during pregnancy, and I hadn't fully recovered. My metabolic health markers weren't where they needed to be, and the constant appetite dysregulation was making it impossible to establish consistent habits. Starting on a low dose of semaglutide changed the quality of my daily life in a way that I did not expect. And not because of anything dramatic, but because the food noise quieted. I could eat intentionally instead of reactively. I could plan my meals around my baby's schedule instead of just grabbing whatever was nearest because I was suddenly starving. That consistency is what unlocked everything else. The training became more sustainable. The nutrition became more structured. The sleep, limited as it was, became more restorative because I wasn't going to bed overfull or stressed about what I had just eaten. But here's what I want to be clear about. The medication made space for good habits. It didn't create them. I still had to do the walking. I still had to prioritize protein. I still had to get my pelvic floor assessed. I still had to do the strength work. The medication removed one obstacle. Habit and effort did the rest. If you're postpartum and you're considering whether GLP-1 support might be relevant for you, that's a conversation that you need to have with your doctor. The right timing, the right dose, the right support structure, all of that matters. And having a team behind you, like what TrimRx offers, with licensed clinicians and ongoing support, makes that process so much less overwhelming. But the foundation is still everything that we've talked about: movement, team, recovery, consistency. The recovery piece everyone skips. Recovery is the most underrated part of rebuilding your body postpartum. And I'm not just talking about workout recovery. I'm talking about systemic recovery, the kind your body needs to actually change. Muscle doesn't grow during workouts. It grows during rest. And when you train, you create these tiny tears in your muscle fibers. And your body actually repairs those tears and builds them back even stronger. But the repair process requires sleep, adequate protein, manageable stress, and time. Now think about your postpartum environment. Sleep is fragmented and insufficient. Stress, even beautiful, loving stress, is constant. Your body is recovering from either a vaginal birth or major abdominal surgery, and you're trying to add progressive exercise on top of all of that. That is why recovery has to be built into the plan intentionally, not as an afterthought. Here's what intentional recovery looks like for a postpartum woman. Training frequency. 3 days a week is plenty. Not 5, not 6. 3 focused sessions with full rest days in between. Sleep hygiene. You cannot control when your baby wakes up, but you can control when you go to sleep. Getting to bed 30 minutes earlier than usual actually adds up. Sleep whenever the baby sleeps. That's genuinely good advice, even if it's annoying to hear. An active recovery. On non-training days, gentle walking, stretching, light yoga, That helps your body recover without adding stress, movement without intensity. Hydration. Your body uses water for every repair process. Postpartum, especially if you're breastfeeding, your hydration needs, wow, let me try that all over again. Hydration. Your body uses water for every repair process. And postpartum, especially if you're breastfeeding, your hydration needs are even higher. Chronic, mild dehydration slows your recovery and makes you more tired and makes everything harder. Stress management. I know it's much easier said than done, especially with a new baby. But even 10 minutes of a quiet, short walk alone, a moment to breathe, that makes a measurable difference in your cortisol levels. And nutrition timing around workouts. Eating a meal with protein and carbs within 2 hours after training, it makes a real difference in how quickly you recover and how effectively your body actually rebuilds. When I started treating recovery as seriously as the workout itself, everything changed. I stopped feeling destroyed after training sessions. I started actually feeling stronger. The process actually started working. Recovery isn't weakness. It's where the results actually happen. The most important shift that I made in my postpartum health journey had nothing to do with exercise or nutrition. It was a mindset shift, and it took me way too long to make it. I stopped trying to get back to my pre-baby body and started trying to build a post-baby body that I actually loved. Those sound familiar, but they are two completely different goals. Trying to get back implies that there's something that you've lost. It puts you in a constant state of deficit. Every single day you're not yet there is a failure. Your pre-baby body existed before pregnancy, before motherhood, before the version of you that you are now. And so going back to her was never really the goal. Building forward means you're creating something new, something that works for your life now. A body that's strong enough to carry a toddler up a flight of stairs without losing your breath. Functional enough to run around a playground. Energetic enough to be present. And here's the thing that nobody tells you. That body, the one that serves your current life, is genuinely more impressive than whatever you were chasing before. I remember the exact moment that it clicked for me. My daughter was about 9 months old, and I was doing a workout in my living room during her nap. And I felt strong, not almost back to normal strong, actually functionally in my own body strong. And I'd been measuring the wrong thing the entire time. The number on the scale was not going to tell me whether or not I could play on the floor for an hour without my back hurting. The size of my jeans was not going to tell me whether or not I had energy at 7 p.m. My pre-pregnancy fitness level was not the benchmark I should have been measuring against. My real life, my current body, my actual needs, those were the benchmarks. Once I made that shift, everything got easier. I stopped feeling behind. I stopped feeling like I was fighting my body. I started feeling like I was working with it. And that genuinely is when results started to happen. Not because I tried harder, because I stopped trying in the wrong direction. Practical framework, what this looks like week by week. So let me make this concrete, because I know how hard it is to translate concepts into action when you're running on 4 hours of sleep. So here's the practical framework. Not the perfect framework, just the realistic one. 0 to 3 months postpartum. Your one job is recovery and gentle reconnection. Daily walks, pelvic floor exercises, breathing work, sleep whenever you can. Routine at every single meal. Nothing more intense than this. No exceptions. 3 to 6 months postpartum. You can begin adding structured movement. 2 to 3 body weight sessions per week. Squats, hinges, rows, planks. Keep walking. Continue prioritizing your protein, and consider seeing a pelvic floor physiotherapist if you haven't yet. 6 to 12 months postpartum. This is where you actually begin progressive strength training. 3 sessions a week. Start adding resistance. Follow a structured program. Continue building your protein intake. This is also when, if relevant to your health situation, a conversation with your doctor about additional support tools might happen. 12 months and beyond. You have a foundation now. You can begin increasing your intensity, adding variety, challenging yourself, but only because you built the foundation first. And woven through it all, the same non-negotiables: enough protein, enough water, enough sleep, movement every single day, even if it's just a walk. Stress management where possible, and your recovery days are respected. Notice what's not in this framework. It's not 5 gym days a week. It's not 2-hour workout sessions. It's not eliminating food groups. It's not punishing yourself on days when life gets in the way. It's consistent, manageable effort that's applied to a realistic plan that respects the actual demands of your life. That's the whole thing, and it works. Final thoughts and encouragement. So let me bring this home with something that I wish someone had said to me in those early postpartum months when I was frustrated and exhausted and just feeling completely lost. Your body is not broken. It did something extraordinary, and now it needs time, patience, and the right support to rebuild. The timeline is longer than you want it to be. That's just true. But slow, sustainable progress compounds in a way that quick transformations never do. Here's what I want you to take away from everything that we've covered. I want you to start with your foundation, your breathing, your pelvic floor, walking. These are not filler steps. They are the actual work. Build strength progressively and patiently. 3 days a week is enough. Body weight before load. Consistency before intensity. Prioritize protein over everything else nutritionally. Every meal, front-loaded, non-negotiable. Shift the goal from getting back to building forward. You're not trying to return to someone you used to be. You're building someone completely new. And if at some point you think you do need additional support, whether it's a pelvic floor physio, a nutritionist, a doctor, or a GLP-1 medication to help regulate your appetite and metabolic health, there's no shame in using every single tool that's available to you. You don't get credit for doing this the hardest possible way. You deserve support. You deserve information that respects your reality. You deserve to feel good in your body again. And you will. Not on someone else's timeline, on yours. If this was helpful, share it with someone that needs to hear it. Subscribe to the Trim Talks for more real, practical wellness education every single week. And if you want to explore whether GLP-1 support is right for your situation, TrimRx offers clinician consultations and personalized care without the insurance hassles, without the insurance headaches. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be. So let's keep going.